Hi, Mandolin here. How's everybody doing out there? I'm coming to you today to talk about something that is kind of taboo. It's a little scary to even talk about. It's got to do with mental health, and I want to talk to you about bipolar disorder. I was diagnosed a few years ago with bipolar disorder. I have a few diagnoses, one of which is PTSD back in 2007. And so many of us have been through so much trying to deal and to be where we're planning to be in this journey that this is something that we really need to bring out, because not only is it mental health, we find that you can also put the spiritual attachment to it, the consciousness that so many of us now possess. And the whole reason, like I said, is to let's start a conversation. Let's share, let's help each other, because we only gain by having these open conversations. This video is not by any means an excuse to abandon any kind of treatment program that you've got going on or any medications that you're taking. Everybody is different, and this video is about finding what's right for yourself. So don't stop any medications or going to a therapist or something just because you watch this video. First, I want to start out is, what is bipolar? I was all kinds of bent sideways when they gave me the diagnosis. No, they were wrong, this, that, and the other. I was angry. So I went out looking for answers. Once I got to the point where I was going to figure it out instead of just being angry about it, I came to a conclusion. I would do the best I could to manage it, because I refused all medications. It wasn't something that I was wanting to do at all, was take medications, because of prior experiences with medications. So when I looked up the medical definition, it said bipolar disorder is a mental illness that causes dramatic shifts in a person's mood, energy, and ability to think clearly. People with bipolar experience high and low moods known as mania and depression, which differ from the typical ups and downs most people experience. That is from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which I figure is a good place to get a definition. I noticed that they use the word energy in there too. So I prefer to say not mentally ill, but dimensionally aware. And we can get into the word game all we want, right? If you look at it from a spiritual perspective, you'll find that many individuals and cultures differ on this. Some see the mentally ill as communicators with the spirit world, and others see it in a galactic perspective of dimensional abilities. I kind of have a combination of those. There was an article called What a Shaman Sees in a Mental Hospital back in Waking Times back in August 2014, and I'll put the link in the description. And they talked to a Dr. Some, who had been a shaman from Africa that came to America to study further, and one of his friends got put in a mental institution, and he went to visit him, and he was shocked at what he saw. He said mental disorder, behavioral disorder of all kinds, signal the fact that two obviously incompatible energies have merged into the same field. These disturbances result when the person does not get assistance in dealing with the presence of the energy from the spirit realm. So they're saying they need assistance to help figure out what to do with this energy. Okay? Notice that both definitions had the word energy. Now, energetic awareness is important too. If you manage your energy, grounding is so important. Just get yourself in that state where you don't have too much energy coursing through you, especially in the manic periods. My manic periods, I would have 5 to 10 things, it seemed like, and I was like just suction focused. I couldn't break away from certain things. I just had to stay, in focus of that and follow it through. There were days without sleep, but I would research, I would sit and try and figure out, and then at the end of it, I would just kind of crash. So what I figured out for myself is that the days of what they call mania, or the ups, were like downloads. or shifting or activations. And then the down or the manic or the low days, the depressive days, I found out were times of integration and it just pure simple rest because I'd been up for days. I mean, it was tiring. So I was finally allowed to complete a cycle. I self-isolated. I was able to stay by myself. The friends that I had at the time, and this was after Eddie's death, that I started combining the two of, okay, this diagnosis with this is what it really is. And the friends that I had at the time, if they didn't hear from me for several days in a row, they would simply send me a text, "Are you okay?" And I'd send it back and know that they weren't going to press further. So I got to complete a cycle and see what it was like. My friend that I wanted to do this video with me, but she's not able to, she told me, she was so frustrated one time, she says, "I wish that they would just let me see what it's like to complete a cycle." And that's when it dawned on me, oh my gosh, that's where my view of it changed, was I was actually able to complete a cycle. So knowing what your own energy signature is anyway, so that when these other energies start coming in, you can sense them and you can feel them, and that's the beginning of a cycle. So that's a trigger point or the beginning of a cycle, and you can do something with that. You can know it's coming and you can kind of prepare for it. That's what I do anyway. I allow my cycles to go full circle. That's how I deal with it. And I know that the rest of the world doesn't find that usually conducive to what society says we should do. But for me, it's been the best thing. I found the most peace. I found the most harmony like that. So the energy management technique and the understanding cycles, important things. Medication may be an option. Some people take medication because they have heart problems. Some people take medication because they're diabetics. Some people take medication because they have immune problems. The point is that if medication is the appropriate for one person and not another, that's okay, because this is about your individual regimen, what's good for you. And make sure, though, that you are with a credible and knowledgeable person with these medications. Do your own research. See what it is that you're taking before you take it. Educate yourself, because ultimately you are responsible for your decisions. You are responsible for your energy. And you have got to take responsibility for it first, or you can never get to the bottom of anything. One thing that was excellent for me was talk therapy. I came up on just my perfect therapist. She was spiritually based because she's a Christian, but she was a true, loving, honest, intent Christian. She truly intended healing. And she got me to notice these cycles that were happening. She got me to notice things, and because she made it a safe and loving place, I could finally look at it and accept it. And not until you do that can you start working on the root of it and figuring out a solution or something. So if you can get a good talk therapist, that's great. And to go in hand with talking, of course, writing, I used to write all the time, and then one day I just quit. But she got me journaling again. And that helps you recognize cycles and triggers also, because if you don't record it, sometimes you forget it. So if you write it down, it's all recorded. Do a audio journal, do a video journal, whatever you do. But that way you can go back and have it for a record and recognize a cycle. And sometimes you can recognize the solution of a cycle later on. And that's really helpful, because it gives you encouragement. It gives you self-esteem. It lets you see that this really is a cycle, that this really does come and then that comes later. And that helps you to recognize what's going on, because part of the fear is not knowing what the hell is going on. So support, if you can have people to support you, when you get in a manic cycle, sometimes people need help. I call it talking down, because it's like you were like, and then someone comes along and they kind of help slow you down a little bit, or they help you attend to something because they know that you're just in that flow. These things are important. But what's really important is us opening conversation about this. What's really important is us to stop judging and being judged about this, because there are great gifts that come through. I get information in these times, and yes, it can be a little, well, debilitating. I mean, because when you're stuck on something for 3 days, but then you let it flow through, and then you start to see it blossom and develop, and it turns into something that is useful. Had I not started to recognize these cycles and in the depression and stuff, and then I could look and say, oh no, wait, it doesn't come from that, it comes from that. Because even if you've started working on it, but you're addressing the wrong problem, you're not making adequate progress. So let's stop judging. Let's just reach out to each other, and let's recognize that traditional methods may not be right for some people as far as mental health. I refused all medication, but for some people that's exactly what helps them to get on an even keel where they can start to actually get benefit from this, because the information that comes through for a lot of people is from another dimension. It's from guides, it's from ancestors, and we've shut these off for so long that we haven't had that there to deal with, so nobody knows how to tell each other how to deal with this. Oh no, it's interrupting your life, you have to stop it. We don't have to stop it. We just have to start to understand it on an individual basis, and as a social unit, understand it. And understand that while it's hard on the person sometimes, it's beneficial. So if you would like to leave a comment, anything that you've noticed, maybe signs or methods of managing that I didn't mention, please leave it in the comments. That's what this is about, is discussion. If you think it'd be a good idea to maybe have a Zoom room from time to time and have a conversation about this, if that's something, that would be great. I would love to do that with people. And just to talk about the different experiences, because when we do that, sometimes we discover something new that might help us. Sometimes we discover something new that we just didn't understand before. And we can also encourage each other and offer each other comfort, because this can get pretty unmanageable at times. So please share this video if you would. Let's get the conversation going. And I'll put my email address into the comments, into the description as well, so that if you'd like to contact and maybe tell me about a personal experience and just get it out there and share, because I'd be open to sharing as well if you weren't comfortable with it. And let's just live in love. Let's just take a moment and just understand that we're not the only person going through this or something similar. We are here for the same reason. It's for the experience. And if we're all going to be here for the experience, let's not judge. Let's get together and have a little conference and see what we can come up with that helps each other. And then it's better for all. So let's love each other and love yourself and give yourself a break. It's okay, and we're going to make it through this, and we're going to come out just with such a better understanding and such a peaceful heart about things. Until next time, please like the video and share it if you would, and let's get serious about this. I love you all.